What's up, guys? Super Milesio here. Welcome back, yet again. Today, I'm rocking a man bun. Actually, I think it might have transcended man bunhood, and into just a regular bun, but I am still a man. I don't quite know how that works. But anyways, whatever you want to call it, that's what we're doing. And today we're looking at another song, Chalkboard. I've been looking forward to this one. It's a fun one. Wrote it maybe 2 months ago, something like that. And we're going to walk through all of it. It is a little bit more involved, but not that much. Before I go to the Logic session, I do want to grab my guitar before I put headphones on and show you that. So, here's my guitar. Yet again, say hi, everybody. Welcome back. There is no capo for this one, but it is a different tuning, and that is... I definitely wanted to go over that because it might be a little hard to figure out what I'm doing. So, one thing you're going to know about me, if you don't already, is that I love me some drop D. But not only is this in drop D, it is in double drop D, which is something that I didn't even know existed until I started experimenting with this song. I thought I knew I probably didn't like invent it because every tuning imaginable has been probably done to death. But this was something that I just sort of stumbled upon out of happenstance and out of just a need, like a legitimate need for something. I wasn't like, oh, let me see if I can write something in this tuning. It was like, oh, I think this would work better if I tuned it like this. And then I later figured out it actually has a name. That is double drop D. So one of my favorite chord progressions just on the guitar is this whole, and then, oh, it's so nice. And basically you're just moving the shape of a C chord up, two. And that gets you this nice D chord, but with that, that clash there, it's got a G in there. So I guess you'd call that I don't know what you call it. There's a G in it. That's all that matters. It's like a sus or something. Who knows? But that wasn't quite what I wanted for this one. So I was just playing around with this hammer-on. I was like sitting just in my like on the piano bench downstairs. And I started playing around with that. So it's that same shape, that D sus, which is just a C chord shape moved up 2 frets. And that's the main lick of the song. Then I started playing around with like, oh, okay, what if I just move these top 2 fingers down? Ooh, now we get that nice G major 7. So that's the deep inside my head. And then I just moved this whole shape up 2, then up 3. And then here's the money lick. The first thing I thought of was that's a really cool sound. I like that. So, so that's cool. Now, why did I do double drop D? Well, let me go back to regular E, regular tuning, and that E string just sticks out. And no matter how hard I tried, when I was playing it, I just kept hitting that E string, and it was like messing up all the chords. Just doesn't, and then like I didn't like that. So I was just like, well, screw it. Let me just make that a D as well. So then that fixed all those issues. Anyways, that's about all I wanted to show with that, just so you can kind of figure out how I was doing it. It's a pretty cool sound, and then the chorus is a little different. It goes to like the down there. That's another one of my favorites. It's a really nice chord. And then to play like the regular D chord, you have to play it a little bit different. Oops. No. Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. There we go. So that's about all there is to it. I'm going to put this away now. We're actually going to get into this because I'm guessing that's what you're here for, is it not? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Bam. There we are in Logic. So, yeah, you can see this session is it's kind of on par. Most of these do not have a ton going on as far as tracks, but it's pretty densely packed. That's kind of my style, except for Peace. Peace, when we get to that one, that's like some more Jacob Collier style, really dense vocal harmonies, a lot more regions in that one. So, excited to see that. I honestly forgot what the other ones are. So there's this, and then there are the 3 more after this. Let's not worry about that right now. So here we go. Here's that guitar part that we just heard me play. Yeah, so again, I did that thing where the outer ones are panned with the higher register boosted quite a bit. So if you just hear those, and they're panned like pretty hard to the side. So you get that nice sparkly sound. And then that middle one's just a little more meaty, for lack of a better word. I should probably think of a better word. But the low end's actually really boosted in this one. So together you get that really nice sound, which is pretty cool. Now, and then we bring in our friend the bass. Again, like most of my other ones, this bass line was kind of after the fact, after I'd already done a lot of stuff with the guitar, basically the whole thing through, and I was like, I definitely knew I needed to add some bass to it, but I didn't quite know what I was going to do, so that came later, which is interesting. I know a lot of people maybe start with the bass line, but anyways, well, I don't know, I guess it just depends on the song. So that's that main thing. So I really did think of the guitar first. In fact, let me pull up that voice memo like I said I was going to do, and also mute my phone while I'm at it. That's the cool thing, is when I document all these things in voice memo form. Let's see, Chalkboard, this one's called Chalk Guitar. Oh boy. It's a little rough. That was on my old Takamine guitar downstairs. It's a little better. I had it written down. Yeah. Deep inside my head. I guess I should have checked. Oh, the lyrics are different. Let's make sure wouldn't be erased. Yeah. So there's that lick. That's different. So that was like a beta version of this song, but I had the right idea. You know, I had some rough lyrics. I had the melody in my head for like at least, you know, one verse. I'm not sure if I had the chorus in my head yet. I'm sorry. I'm trying to plug in my phone. It's been very unfortunate lately. Every single phone I own gets to a point after like a year of owning it that it stops wanting to charge properly, and it baffles me. I don't do anything like particularly rough with it when it's plugged up, and now it won't charge. Oh well, we'll figure it out later. Oh, you know what? It's because my charger's not plugged in. Well, I'm stupid. Anyways. I had it written down deep inside my head. So, right off the bat, we got some more reverb in this one too, but it's different. Diffuse Hall, I really like this one. So, if I just play... Let me find a good example of it. I think Diffuse Hall is, it's very quick, like, feedback. So, like, almost like that sort of thing. Wish I knew what it said before it was erased. You can't really hear it too well on the vocals, but you can definitely hear some reverb, but it's still more closely packed. If we do a slap, you'll definitely hear it. Like on the guitar, there's a percussive sound, and you'll hear what it does. Yeah, you kind of hear that on the reverb. Boom. So, I chose to go with that. I think it works for this song. But that was just sort of an on-the-fly decision. I played around with a couple different settings. So deep inside my head, I only wish I knew. I like that moment where the melody is singing the major 7. It's a nice... Only wish I knew what it said before it was erased. I love this moment. So, This was a part where like this happens a lot with me. I'll come up with something cool on the guitar. It sounds good, and then I will play around on the bass, and I'll figure out like something a bass line that just makes it even cooler. Sometimes it like totally changes what the chord actually is, because it's really the lowest note that determines like the inversion, sometimes like the chord itself. So sometimes I've completely like transformed the like harmonic feel of something that I already thought of, like just by adding a bass line, which is really cool, especially in Empathy. That's one I think it's really really profound, but in this one too. So on the guitar we're going up, right? And then we have that chromatic da da da. But in the bass, we're actually going down. So if you listen to this. So that kind of goes along with this here. The bass is going down and the guitar is going up. So yeah, so then the dum dum da dum dum da and the bass, and then the da. Well, this time they're both going down in this case. So that gets that really cool sound there. So the bass up to that point is just pretty simple. Again, playing on all the chords, like the start of every chord. Deep inside, whatever it is. Dum dum. It's kind of my MO. You start simple on the bass and then it gradually gets kind of crazier. So
much empty space.
The second verse is pretty much the same, except already we're doing some more interesting things in the bass. Yeah. So yeah, and then pretty much the same, except now we have that da da da. The guitar lick is now going up, and so I really like this contrast here. Yeah, you leave it the suspended da, the guitar chord, and then the bass line is still going down. So it's like yeah, it's this really cool thing. So now that brings us into the chorus.
Ask what's on my mind, and I'll tell you it's probably written somewhere on this chord.
E minor.
Or at least it was.
I like that clash there, because that is when I actually did play the sus chord, whatever it is. So there is a G in there that you might be able to hear, and the melody is singing the F sharp. Yeah. So it was. You get that nice little clash in there, because you can hear that G. And then you get that F chord that I was talking about.
So I'll just tell you I
like that moment. This is like just a straight up D chord. There's no susness to it. There's no nine. There's not even. It's just that nice percussion. Again, that slap just kind of wakes you up. But yeah, so that's just a straight up D chord. I like that moment. And then this is like one of my favorite little bass licks that I thought of. So first I just had this empty spot here, you know. I'm fine. Just like the intro again. I wanted something interesting. So I thought of like just it's pretty simple, right? But
I'm fine.
It's cool because I like the F sharp. Like, man, I love those dissonant, those chromatic movements.
Fine.
You're still playing the G chord, but you get that dun, that F sharp. Tasty. And that brings us into the second verse. So, the bass line does get more complicated, and we will go into that. But that brings us to the mandolin. Now, interestingly, so the second half of the song is kind of it's basically the same. And that was a conscious thing on my part. You don't have to always do too many crazy things. I thought this was kind of a cool. I didn't want to overstay its welcome. It was a fun little song, just verse verse chorus, and that was it. And so I played this for my uncle, as is, without the mandolin. Just had the bass and the guitar, and he was like, he's an incredible musician as well. And he was like, I really like this. It sounds cool, but I would really think about adding something else in the second like verse or chorus, because you don't want to just do the same exact chorus twice in a row, or just something along those lines. And I was like, you know what? You're probably right. And so I did. I kind of went off the handlebars with this, and I really am happy that I took that to heart, because, man, without it, it just wouldn't be the same. So mandolin. I'm not a good mandolin player. I'm not even gonna I don't play instruments that are tuned in fifths very much. I would love to be a really good string player, but unfortunately I didn't start when I was 3, and I don't have access to a lot of string instruments. My whole life I really haven't. So that was never something I did. Of course, strings are tuned. Most strings, except for the upright bass, are tuned in fifths, like cello, fiddle, and then mandolin is tuned in fifths. And I've always been a guitar player. Not that I'm not even that good at soloing on a guitar to where it would really throw me off, but it does enough still. Being in fifths rather than fourths is weird enough to where it throws me off. But I did start playing around with it, and it's not that bad once you get used to it. And this is about the extent of what I can do. I can hear something in my head, and if it's not too crazy blistering fast, I can figure out how to play it. I might not remember it very well, but I can play it in the moment. I can practice it for 20 minutes until I get it down, and then record it, and then I'll probably forget about it the next day. But that's good enough for me. So this is what we have.
I look through what I wrote. I could do this all day long.
So there's a couple moving parts here. This is a looped track. This is something I really like to do. You've heard it a couple times. That's just me muting the strings, and with a pick, just like that. I like that percussive element to it. Really adds something. Then, as far as this, what are we doing here? So we got. That was something I heard in my head. I was listening to the song over and over, and I was like, what can I add here? I just heard this da 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 da, and then I played around with that. So then I came up with the first part after that, and I just played around with it. This part here. I just sort of came up with that on the fly. I was just playing a lot of random stuff, and that one stuck. What you'll notice here is that there's 2 tracks, and one of them is panned right, one of them is panned left. So when I first did this, I left them panned center, and it kind of really created a cluttery effect that I didn't really like. It was getting in the way of the melody too, and I sort of fixed that by just panning them really hard. And then I thought of the idea to switch it up. So it starts over here, and then it goes over here, and then it goes back and forth. And so it's this really cool effect, and it also didn't interfere as much with the melody, so I really liked that. So it starts over here, and then it goes to the left side. So that's pretty cool. And then, of course, we got that percussion with it, so all together. That's pretty cool. And then we do that melody again, but an octave up. Yeah. So, of course, all together, or with the guitar too. It's tasteful, I think. It's not. It doesn't. doesn't take the show, but it definitely adds something that would not have been there otherwise. Then in the chorus, what do we have? Oops. So again, and we're switching back and forth between the different ears. But so these are just supplemental chords, and I got rid of the extra strumming track because I did the strumming pattern in the actual in the actual mandolin track, whatever I'm trying to say. It's all in one piece. Yeah, I realized like when I was watching my last one, I noticed that the what you're seeing and hearing here is slightly off with my camera and voice. So I realized when I'm like singing along to this, it's probably going to be out of sync. So I'm sorry about that, but that's okay. We'll work with it. At least like my voice and my face are synced. Otherwise, that would be really bad. Yeah, it really gets up there. So that adds a lot. I definitely am glad that I added that in. Kind of gives it a weird like newgrass feel to it. I don't know if that's the right thing, but let's go into the bass line in this part because I really enjoy what's happening here. That's that. That's that. So yeah. Just adding more movement. It's the same chords, it's the same everything. I'm just adding a little bit more to the bass line. Same thing. Same thing. Then the chorus is where it gets interesting, I think. Yeah. So we have this nice. I just thought of those. Again, like I said, I'm not going too deep into like the theory of like what this stuff is. It's just like I'm sorry that I don't have much more to offer a lot of times than oh yeah, I thought of that on the fly. It's not like me trying to like. It's just legitimately, if you listen and immerse yourself in this type of music for long enough, you do just start to listen to it and you hear something that you wish was there, and then you're like, oh, let me figure that out. So you just, and again, if I just let it go, if I loop it and I just start fiddling around, 10 times in a row, one of those times is probably going to be something pretty cool that I can build off of. That's like my biggest suggestion is don't squash your ideas before they even become ideas, if that makes sense. Like don't immediately scrutinize what you're coming up with. Sort of just let it happen. Because sometimes I'll come up with something and I'm like, that's not good, but I'll like still go with it, and then later on I'll revisit it and be like, you know what, I actually do like that. I can build off that. And that's something that it takes a lot of I guess just mental fortitude to like not just immediately throw out something that you think is bad. Sometimes it is bad, okay? I'll be the first to tell you that. But it's not always bad. And so I don't even know where I'm going with that. Just play around with stuff and let stuff out and let your ideas, have their moment. And if it's bad, you can throw it away later on. Throw the most out, like we said yesterday. But otherwise, just kind of go with it and see what happens. So, all that to say, I'm not, whatever. This is my favorite bass moment in this song.
Since the last time I checked, but I can.
Ooh, man, you're gonna know this about me too. I love some chromatic action, especially in the bass line. So. Yeah, so that did not happen in the last verse. So last time I checked. It's just like, ooh, yeah, you just sit down on that last note. And it's a really cool sound.
I can write it down again So until then, I'm fine.
Yeah, and that last moment's pretty cool too, because we have that same duck duck da here. And then the bass line is doing some more chromatic action. I think it's just boom 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 boom. Yeah. So that's cool. So yeah. So that's that nice like duck duck da da dum dum dum. And then the mandolin, what is that doing? This is just another good da da. It's got a 13 and a 9 in there. Nothing too crazy. But guys, that's it. That is the song. There's not even any like synth strings or MIDI anything. It's just this. It's just the guitar, the vocals. There's no vocal harmony or anything. And that's that. Let's oh shoot, I forgot. I hope you didn't see any embarrassing notes. Hold on one sec. I should have switched to my main face. I have the lyrics here somewhere, and I will copy paste them real quick because I forgot. I had it written down. Here we go. Boom. We're back. Notes. I don't use this a lot, and it's really small. It always starts out that way. I don't know why. How big is too big? That's probably good. And we need to make it white. I don't know why it defaults to gray. There we go. That's good enough. Sorry about that. Go away. And go away. Here we go. I had it written down. So, Chalkboard. I wanted a song that was more like, less on the nose, more metaphorical, obviously. A lot of my lyrics are, of course, but this one is a little more nebulous as far as what it means. Even I have trouble articulating exactly what this means, but I think it paints a nice picture. So if you think of a chalkboard, the nature of that is that whatever gets written down is probably not going to be there for very long, right? It's a chalkboard. It's meant to be written and erased and written and erased and written and erased. And also the writing utensil, like most writing utensils, is going to disappear. But of course, faster than most other ones would. So those were two like sort of metaphorical things I was playing with. Just the fleeting nature of anything you write on a chalkboard. Like somebody else could just come by and wipe it off. So I like this picture of like the inside of your head being like a chalkboard, being like something you're writing down thoughts fervently, just all the time you're writing something down. And so it just keeps getting erased, or you keep writing and writing and writing until the stick is gone, or just all this other stuff. So that's sort of what all these lyrics are painting here. Empty space, pick up the stick, trace and retrace till the stick's been ground to dust. Just again, like this, all of these thoughts in your head just bouncing around, like reading things on a chalkboard, like the Simpsons intro where Bart's like writing down write-offs, like a bunch of them in a row. So it's sort of this monotony of the brain, but also the chaos, Ask what's on my mind. I'd tell you, probably written somewhere on this board. So this is actually more like specific experience that sometimes I have where like all the time I'll be thinking about all these things that like I'm going through, that I'm thinking about, and then when somebody actually asks me what's going on, like the tendency is just to say fine, like I'm fine. I'm sure you've heard that before. And that's a lot of times not just because I'm like lying or like I don't want to say it. It's because sometimes in that moment when somebody asks you, you legitimately like can't put it to words. Like you can't articulate it, even though you've been thinking about it like this whole time. It sort of just goes away when it comes time to like talk about it. It's the weirdest thing, and I don't know why that is, but it's a weird phenomenon. So like sometimes when people ask you, you're like, I'm fine, even though you're definitely not fine, and like there's a bunch of things you could talk about. It's just like, oh, like I forgot like what it was I was going to even say. It's probably somewhere in here, but I don't know where it is. So that's kind of what I'm saying in the chorus. I brandish my eraser. I changed that line because it didn't quite work. I brandish my eraser. I couldn't get it to sound right, so I just changed it to, what is it? It can be erased. Yeah, I just did. So, and I just left it because I didn't want to like retype it or anything. Yeah, these are just more like talking about the things. I like how the chorus, I do like to slightly change the words in the chorus, even though it's supposed to be kind of the same. But sometimes I'll change like one or two lines in the chorus that kind of drastically change or evolve as the song goes. Sometimes paint a totally different picture. In this case, it's just like sort of reaffirming this thing that like it's going away. So the first time it said it's probably written somewhere. At least it was the last time I checked. And then the second time, I realize you guys can't see it because my stupid face is in the way. Here, maybe you can see it a little bit here. And then the second chorus, it's saying it once was written somewhere, kind of saying, well, it's not, it's definitely not there anymore, but it's disappeared. I can write it down again, so until then, I'm fine. I can write it down again. That's sort of just saying, like, it's this feeling of just constantly, like, going through the same thoughts over and over, almost like it's Groundhog Day or it's like some sort of fever dream. Yeah, again, the whole song is very much this, this nebulous picture of the mind, which I do like. I think you need something like that. It's not as like downright depressing or bittersweet as some of my other songs. It just kind of makes you really scratch your head and think like, well, what is this really saying? What does this mean? Maybe your mind is kind of like a chalkboard in some ways. I think there's a lot of different metaphors you could use for the brain. So I wanted to explore one of those here. And so that's what I did. I like how the sound sort of complements that. Even the mandolin adds this like sparkliness that, I don't know, it just felt right, and that's all that matters. It's a very similar vibe with this one and a couple of the other ones, but that's sort of the style of this album. It's more acoustic. It's like closer to Newgrass. A lot of the similar motifs and stuff, similar song structure. But there's definitely a couple oddballs. I think next time we will probably do Empathy. I think is the next one. That's a good one. There's a lot to that one, so I'm excited to get into that. I think we're done here, so let me go back here real quick. Whoa, there you are. Yeah, so Empathy is next. I'll probably try and tackle that in the next couple days. I'm liking doing this. And then after Empathy is Peace, and then we will close on Mind, which is the first song on the album, which is funny. And that's the last song we're going to cover here. So it's exciting. I look forward to that. Hope you are too. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you then.